Welcome to Start Before You're Ready, the podcast that proves that you don't need to wait for the perfect moment to begin your journey towards better health and happiness. I'm your host, Kelly Young. Remember, the first step is often the hardest, but it's always worth taking. Hey guys, it's Kelly, and I am back with another episode of Start Before You're Ready. And today's guest is a KBC superstar. I'm so excited to share her with you. She has been doing classes with us since 2012. I'm going to let her tell you how she got started and how it took her a little while to get started, which is pretty normal. But the things that I want you to know about my guest today, Sue Foley, is that she has been Sue, how long have you been a teacher, or now you're a resource teacher? How long have you been teaching?
29 years.
Yeah. So she has had an incredible impact on our students, and she is such an amazing teacher. And I have loved sharing with her over the years about things that are going on in her classroom and just ways that she keeps her students engaged. I love that she uses some of the sayings that we say at KBC, like easy doesn't make you better, in her classroom. She's so great. Oh, she's got the sign right over her. I love that. She's so great about sharing, lifting herself up so she can be a more positive influence on her student. And that's part of my mission. So if I've never talked about this before, I'm going to use Sue as my gateway to talk about how much I love and value school staff and teachers. Growing up, teachers were just an incredible resource in my life. I always felt like my teachers loved me and cared about me. And I always felt like I could work hard and earn their respect. And that was really important to me growing up. That was a huge part of my identity. I can remember every single one of my teachers' names from kindergarten, which I thought everybody could, but apparently that's not the case. I can picture their face, and I just love school staff. So when I started my own business and just thought about who I wanted to serve, teachers were at the top of the list, because I feel like they are people that pour so heavily into other people and give so much energy all day long. And if you've ever spent any time in a school, whether it be elementary, middle, or high school, it is the most draining thing. I remember going into the school for my kids for like an hour or 2 hours, and I'd come out and I'd be like, how do they do that all day? That's so exhausting. So I just have so much respect for Sue, and I'm so excited to share her with you. And I'm going to let her go ahead and introduce herself as kind of how she started with KBC.
Great. Thanks, Kelly. As Kelly said, my name is Sue Foley. I've been with KBC since 2012. I started, I believe, in September of 2012. I got started kind of the same way everybody does, where you have a friend that keeps mentioning it and bringing it up. She kept trying to get me to come. Chris and I used to work out together with another trainer, and he moved.
Rick.
He left the area. Rick, yeah.
So Chris and Fran, Chris Berry. We're talking about Chris Berry.
Chris Berry, yeah. So Chris, I guess, immediately jumped in maybe to KBC, and I just kind of thought, well, I'll just do whatever, do my own thing. And Chris kept saying, oh, I think you would really like this. You should come and join. But there was always an excuse. So I have a 5K race that day, I can't come. Or I have a race the next day, so I don't want to be sore. I think I went to the website, and I think I saw pictures of people like working out in the grass. And I was like, that's not for me. I don't want to be in the grass. Just, excuse after excuse. Then at the end of the previous school year, before I started KBC, I was in a really bad situation. I just wasn't feeling good about myself. I was in a toxic environment. It was just a tough time. I was at the point where I would drive into the school parking lot. As soon as I parked my car, I'd start crying. My stomach was upset. And so I just up and decided I'm leaving this job, and I just quit. And I thought, teaching's not for me. I'm just not cut out for this. This isn't how it's supposed to feel. And so I just quit. I didn't have anything lined up. I was like, I'm just going to figure it out. So
you quit? You quit at the end of the school year.
I quit at the end of the school year.
Quit in the middle of the year.
Quit at the end of the school year. And then so September rolls around and I'm not teaching. I don't have a job. So I was like, all right, I'm done with excuses. So, okay. She calls me again and says, come to KBC. I'm like, okay, I'm going to come on Saturday. I'll come to Saturday boot camp. So the night before, she forwards me your email that explains the workout. And I read the email and I immediately reply back, what the hell is a shockwave and what am I getting into?
Shockwave does not sound beginner friendly, does it?
Yeah. So of course I ended up getting there, even though we were going to the 8 o'clock, I got there probably at like 7:30, 7:45. So I could view and sneak peek at what was going to be going on and
plan your exit.
Yeah. And so I just, jumped right in then. And because I wasn't working, I think I did start with some weekday classes as well, because I was like, I don't have anything else to do.
Yeah. 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 I think we had night weekday classes at that point. Oh, maybe. Okay. Yeah.
And then I literally started teaching again, probably 6 weeks after I joined KBC, because I got it.
Okay. So that something opened up. And did you have your own classroom, or was it just
Oh, yeah. I had decided that I was going to try to sub in Loudoun County. I was previously teaching in Fairfax County. And I never got called to sub. I'm thinking to myself, I guess I'm probably not a good teacher because I am a certified teacher and I'm not even getting calls to sub. So long story short, I changed my application from sub to certified teacher. And I mean, literally within a few days, the phone rings and I see it's LCPS. And I'm thinking it's one of the kids' schools calling, that something must be, the kids are sick or something. So I answer the phone and this woman says, hi, my name is so-and-so, and I'd really like you to come in for an interview for this third grade position that I have open. And I was like, wait, well, can you just repeat everything you said? Because I was expecting a phone call from my kids. And so I accepted the job. And so I started, I went and visited. I really liked the principal a lot. She took me on a tour of the school. I got to go into the classrooms and I liked what I saw. And I've been at the same school ever since.
That's what I thought. So because that's what I thought. I've known you as having we're going back a lot of years. So you've been at the same school ever since, and you taught third grade and fourth grade too.
Yes.
Okay.
1 year of third grade. And then I moved to fourth grade for several years. And then just last year, I took this new position as the gifted resource teacher.
Uh-huh.
And so I've been in this position for a year, almost 2 years.
Yeah. Well, I just remember one of the things about when you had your own classroom is you tried to make it just kind of meet the kids where they were at with like their fidgetiness and stuff. And you put like BOSU balls and resistor balls and different like seating to accommodate them not wanting to sit in chairs. And that's when I was like, this is an amazing teacher. And you have shared over the years some of the things that your students have done for you. And I know I mean, we all have doubts in our profession, and there's moments where we have to make a change, and you did. But I know that you are an incredible teacher. So I know that you have had a huge impact, and that that's why you were struggling back in 2012 or 2011 with where you were, because it didn't feel right and you weren't able to do the work that you knew that you were capable of doing with your students. So I think that's a great message right there, right? You needed a change and you ended up being much happier. And I'm sure that change was hard. I'm sure it was hard to leave that school. And I don't know if what we got from KBC had anything to do with it, but I do feel like there's a lot of people in our community that have, once they kind of prioritize their own health and they start working out regularly, and they have their own routine and they're better about their self-care, other parts of their life start to get better. And you have been just an incredible example of getting better over the years. I'll start with your mindset. I'll be totally honest. Like when you first started, I would not have considered you as growth minded as I do now. You are so growth minded and you're always willing to do that little extra thing, whatever it takes to improve or to get better. And the other thing that I really love and appreciate about you, there's so many things too, but one thing is you'll always reach out when you're struggling. And if it's in the summer and you can't establish a routine, or you're just like, I'm not sure about my current exercise routine, you'll just send a message or just say, hey, Kelly, these are my workouts right now. What do you think? Or it might be about nutrition, or it might be, and that has worked so well for you. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, Sue?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, we all go through stages, where we're all in for something, but it gets hard. And, working out every day isn't easy. And finding the energy at the end of the day, because I'm an evening person, is not always easy, especially after spending, 8 hours in the classroom. And, being around kids, and some days are harder than others, but yeah, you get in a rut sometimes, and, I don't always want to go, and don't feel like I have the energy, but also sometimes you just feel like nothing's working. Like things aren't going the way that you want them to, even though you feel like you're doing all the right things. And sometimes we feel like we're doing all the right things and we're not necessarily doing all the right things. And there's room for improvement. So reaching out has always been a way for me to kind of take another look at what it is that I'm doing. Do I need to make tweaks or changes? Should I continue doing what I'm doing? Or, it just helps to get another look at.
Yeah, I love that, Sue. And so I think this kind of speaks to it. So one of the funny stories that I want to tell about Sue is during the pandemic, everything was live. Everything was virtual. As a lot of our classes, we still have a virtual option, but everything was virtual. I mean, I was Zooming boot camp or Facebook Living boot camp and all my classes. And my sister picked up on, she goes, that's Sue. She goes, she's a teacher's pet. She will do, if you say do something, she's like, at attention. And she's always like setting everyone else up and like doing everything for everybody. And I'm like, you just nailed that, Brooke. I'm like 100%. She's always like, even today before we started, she's like, fix your picture, which is still crooked. But I love that about her. I absolutely love that about her. That she's teachers often are great. Either they talk too much, which is not the case with Sue. She's pretty serious. When she's working out, she takes it pretty seriously. Or they're like they listen to everything, they read everything. And Sue is in that category. Like if I sent an email, if I asked her the next day what was in that email, Sue, she would go through and tell me exactly what I said. She's great about paying attention to things. And she also signs up for a lot of our programs. You've done probably everything. Let's start with what's the most recent nutrition program you've done?
I think the most recent one is the Cut the Fat. I did that this past fall, was it? Yeah. This past fall.
Yeah. And what did you learn from that?
So I know you've spoken about this before, but I've also done the Clean and Shred, and they're two completely different programs, but both very valuable. And the information and the knowledge that I gained from both of those is incredible. But Cut the Fat really helps to manage the macros. And I think the way that Gretchen helps with that helps you see where you need to make the changes. You could go, you can calculate your own macros. You can go find an online tool or whatever, but it doesn't mean that it's going to necessarily work for your body. And I think Gretchen was just really good about saying, you need, this percentage of fat, this percentage of protein, whatever. And I think the protein was just really the biggest driver for me. Just making sure to hit that goal.
Well, whatever you are doing, Sue, I'd love for you to talk about because you've done she's done the winter challenge, which is where we kind of do that 6-week program where it's a little bit of a short term before and after. But she's, in my opinion, you've been incredibly consistent with your numbers, with your in-body report, which is basically your weight, your body fat, and your skeletal muscle mass, until recently. Recently, you've kind of entered a whole new category of excellent. And I'd love for you to talk a little bit about that. So if you can.
Yeah. So that stems from Amy's Clean and Shred menopause makeover. The information, Amy's just a wealth of knowledge, and she did so much research, and I was able to gain so much information from Amy just about the menopause stage of our lives where a lot of us are right now. And knowledge is power. So I took a lot of the information that Amy gave me, and especially about seeing doctors. So I had not seen a gynecologist in years because, I'm not having babies anymore. Why do I need to see a gynecologist? And I was just having all that done through my GP. And, I just came into a realization that she's not equipped to answer all the questions that I have. And they try their best, but it's not her area of expertise. So I decided I'm going to make an appointment with the gynecologist. I got started on hormone replacement therapy, which is not necessarily for everybody, but, I explained to her the symptoms that I was having and how I was feeling, that I just didn't feel like myself, and all these things that I used to do for health and nutrition and fitness that used to, if I wanted to lose 5 pounds, I could do this and the 5 pounds will disappear. Well, that wasn't happening anymore. And the doctor that I saw, Amy, was also recommended by Amy, and she's local, and just was a wealth of knowledge too. She had, helped me with answered so many questions. And I didn't know you could start hormone replacement therapy before you're actually in menopause. And she was like, no, you don't have to wait. You can, if you're having symptoms, you can get on it, you can start. And for me, that was, even though HRT is not is not geared towards weight loss, it just helps to fix so many other things. If you're not having the hot flashes and the night sweats, you're getting better sleep. And so your sleep quality is improved, and metabolism helps or improves that too. So there was just so much just from seeing, one specialist. And it just put me on the right path. And now I follow so many experts and doctors and read up on it all the time. And like I said before, knowledge is power. If there was a time when hormone replacement therapy was thought to be dangerous, increased your risk for certain cancers and heart disease and things like that. Now there's research that shows that it actually improves cognitive ability. It increases, it decreases your risk for osteoporosis and bone loss. And they said there's even certain cancers that it can help prevent.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely. Yeah. And everything's a case-by-case basis. But one thing that I think was probably really in your favor when you went to the doctor is you were already doing everything right. So it's like, hey, I'm already exercising. I do strength training this many times a week. I get these steps. I get the protein. I drink the water. I get the sleep. Here's all the things I'm doing. And I just think that like we have another saying that I know you love as well, and it's control the controllables, right? So I might not be able to control the different hormone levels in my body on my own. I might need an outside source for that. But these are all the things that I can control. And you were doing such a great job with all of that.
And that's an excellent point, because you can't I can't say that it's the hormone replacement therapy has been the thing that's solved all my problems, but because you do have to do the other things. You can't just, it's not going to be, oh, if I go on hormone replacements, it's going to fix all my other things, but it doesn't. You have to do the things that help with the body fat, the weight loss, the muscle gain. You have to put in the work too. It's just taking a medicine or a hormone or whatever.
Right. And the consistency of what you're doing. Yeah, I totally agree. I think that's a really good point. I'm really glad that you brought that up, Sue. And it is one thing that I like to teach our students is that your health is everything, right? So if you don't take care of your health, if you prioritize other things, you're not going to be able to do those other things, because if you don't have the energy and or you're sick or you don't feel good, you're not going to be able to do those things. So take care of you, which started in 2012, right? Sue made the decision to start a consistent exercise program, and start with one thing and then build from there. There's been a lot of layers. Sue did not get, her body fat is for a woman her age, her body fat is in the excellent category. I look at her even now at Saturday boot camp. I'm like, man, you look good, Sue. You just look great. You look great. And I know, and it has even more value to me because I know how hard you've worked for it. And I know it hasn't been a straight line. And I know you've had some times when you felt like, I'm trying everything and nothing's working, but you never gave up. You always tried something, and you were smart about it. You weren't like, let me look for this, whatever. It was like, what changes that are going to be good for my health? Because you're seeing the big picture, right? You're seeing longevity and things that are obviously very important for all of us. And your mental health too. I know I see the teachers that come in at night and I see how tired they are. And I see the energy, they're just zapped. And as we start working out, it's just like something ignite. They need to be poured back into. It's literally like charging your battery. And it seems contraindicated, it doesn't seem like it makes sense. But it really does. Would you agree with that, Sue?
Oh, absolutely. There was so many times when I'll have a conversation with someone and be like, oh my God, I had to drag myself here. If someone told me to go home right now, I probably would. But like you said, once you get started with the exercise and the workout, it just rejuvenates you so quickly, and you forget how tired you were. So
yeah, I see that in everyone, not just my teachers, because I have a class at night, like in the 6s, where it's usually might be like yesterday. I looked at Stephanie Schenkel, and I was like, Stephanie, you look like you had the hardest day of your life. And she's like, yeah, she has to get up at 4 to drive into the city now. And she's got 3 little kids. So in between then, she's probably doing a million things. But as she started doing her workout and she was, catching up a little bit. And I was like, man, you have 2 choices, right? You go home exhausted and start the next day exhausted, or you rejuvenate. And I think that it's hard. It's hard when you're tired. There are nights when I have to teach and I'm like, I literally, especially like sometimes during the time change, and I'm not a night person. I'm a morning person. I shoot out of a cannon, but like, I'll be driving there and I'll be like hitting my face and just be like, oh my gosh. And then like within 3 minutes, I'm like, what else can we do? Like I'm, totally re-energized. So it is counterintuitive was the word I was trying to say earlier, that when you're tired, you should work out, but working out actually gives you energy, even if you're tired. If you're tired physically, maybe not as much, but I do think if you're mentally tired, that exercise is the secret sauce. All right. So, you've learned a lot of tips along the way, because like I said, you've done the challenges, you've done the DW, you've done the, cleaning shred, I think both editions. You did the menopause edition and the regular edition. You've done, I think you were Gretchen's prototype in the beginning for Cut the Fat. She wanted to kind of use you when she first started to just kind of iron out some of the things, some of the programming. Let's use this time to give our audience some tips. So if you're talking to, I'll give you a scenario, right? You're talking to somebody that's maybe where you were in 2012, right? You're maybe in a little bit of a funk, and you're not feeling motivated, and you need a change. What would you tell that person?
I just had that conversation with someone this morning here at work.
Okay. Tell us exactly the conversation.
So she said to me, she gave me a compliment and said, "Oh, you look so good." And I said, "Thank you." And she said,
You probably hear that all day long. Oh, thank you.
No. I said,
you look so good. Sorry, go ahead.
She said, "Are you working out?" I said, "Yeah, I work out, and I make sure I eat healthy as much as possible." But
Pack your lunch every day.
She was saying, "Oh, I'm trying so hard. I've just started this diet," she said, "and I've lost 5 pounds, but I have 8 more to go," or something like that. It was the conversation. And I said, "Oh, what are you doing?" And she said, "No carbs. No carbs." And well, I drink wine and I'll eat candy here and there, but I'm not eating any bread.
No good carbs.
Yeah. So I said, "Oh," I actually suggested, I said, one of the nutritionists at the community that I work out in is starting another session of her Cut the Fat program. I said, "I think it would really help you." And I explained to her what it was. And I told her that I had done it and how it works. And she seemed really interested. And I just think you need to reach out to a professional. I said, if that was my advice, as you've said all along and on almost every episode of your podcast, everybody needs a coach.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes you just can't do it on your own. And especially when you get to certain stages of your life where things, as I mentioned, just aren't the same things that you used to do, just aren't working anymore. So I immediately ran back to my classroom and I texted Gretchen and I was like, "Has the Cut the Fat program started yet?" And she said it did, but that she could still work her in if she was interested. So, but yeah, my advice would just be to reach out to someone and get the expert advice, because you can read a lot of things online, but it's not the same.
Yeah. And I also that's, we hear that all the time. And of course, cutting carbs, you're going to lose weight. But the first thing I always say to people when they say, "I don't eat any carbs," is they say, "Oh my gosh, you don't eat any fruits or vegetables?" And they say, "Oh, no, I eat fruits and vegetables." And I'm like, okay, but those are 100% carbs. Like most of them, maybe there's a little bit, but it just people, it's a marketer's, it's so confusing. It's so confusing. And if you're trying to get weight off your body quickly, yeah, of course, you're going to lose your body's water. You're basically dehydrating yourself and you're going to, you are going to lose the weight quick. But the whole thing with any diet, as you mentioned it being a diet, is so somebody would say to me, is this good, Kelly? And it would be a diet, like a low carb or a keto, or, there's styles of eating and there's a diet. I always preferred the styles of eating. But the first thing I say is, are you going to do it forever? No, I'm just doing it to get this 13 pounds off. And once I go to the 13 pounds, then it's not good. And that's all of us. I mean, we're all like that. We all have that mindset, right? It's like, I'm just going to do this to get the weight. But then you're going to go back to doing what you always did. You would be so much better off is changing like one little thing in your diet that you're going to keep doing to get real change. So I love that you use that example. What other advice, Sue? What would you say about exercise, especially, for maybe somebody, because this is what I hear a lot. They'll see it's so funny. I love that you mentioned that about the grass. And just FYI, our first class, I had envisioned being in the grass next to trees. And I just thought, oh, it's going to be like so earthy. We were on the grass, and I think it was one of our first classes, and I had Francois, my neighbor, came and took some professional pictures, and they were really good pictures. So I put them on the website, but we never worked out in the grass after that one class. Literally, I got so many complaints. I'm itchy, my sneakers are wet. I'm like, okay, even Monday, I think we're doing the outdoor adventure run, and I had him running up the hill. And I know I came home and my socks were soaked. I was like, yeah, I don't know why we did that. So we do not do that anymore, guys. We don't really go in the grass. I also thought the grass would be more cushioned than the pavement. But so Sue, I think you've done a really good job of programming your workouts. And one of the things that I'm most proud of in our workout community, and no matter what workout community you're in, there's always options and there's always ways that you can kind of program your workouts. Meaning like maybe you're not going to your fitness studio or your gym every day, but you're programming in different kinds of workouts. And you've always been really good about that. Can you speak to that a little bit, Sue?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest game changers for me this past year was, no offense to you, but switching from the 6:30 p.m. on Tuesdays to Amy's 4:30 mashup, because it's a combination of strength and conditioning.
Right.
And
you're getting more strength for sure. 6:30 is all cardio.
Yeah. So getting that extra day, another day of strength training, I think really made a difference in my muscle mass. And even like a lot of the weights that we use in the mashup are just the light weights, like 2, 3, 4 pounds. But when you're doing what she's telling us to do, it's hard. And I think just sneaking in that extra strength has really been a game changer for me. So, and changing up, I think I reached out to you saying, this is my schedule. Basically what I do almost weekly. And I think you even said that, that's pretty balanced. Like, I like the way that looks. And
I see it with our members. You can get stronger in any class, period, end of sentence. Ideally, obviously, if gaining skeletal muscle mass is your priority, then you want to be getting at least, I'd say 3 classes that have the word strength in them a week, or mashup is another example. It's mashup, meaning multiple formats put together. But it's all about fatigue. If you work your muscles to fatigue, if your muscles get tired, you're going to get stronger. And it could be with the heaviest dumbbells you can carry, and it could also be with light weights. And people will argue this is controversial, that you need to get heavy to gain muscle. It's not true. It's not true. You can gain muscle from anything that has resistance. The bands, I've seen people get completely ripped from resistance bands. I know me personally, when I first started working out, I used the 3s and the 5s. I remember very well when I picked up an 8 and I was like, oh my God. And my arms just started getting definition because it was change. It was a resistance and that I was never getting before. So there's if you like it and you do it consistently, it's good. Okay. If you can get a couple workouts in a week where you are getting some heavy weights, that's better, right? That's kind of the gold standard. That's what we really want. But if you're not doing anything right now, any type of strength training is going to be helpful for you. Calisthenics, push-ups, wall push-ups if you can't do a push-up. It's going to change your body. Change equals change. And that's why Sue was like, look at my schedule, should I change something? And yeah, maybe it was balanced because I know Monday she was doing a strength and conditioning class, which is about half and half. And then the next day she was doing a cardio class. And the next day, Wednesday, you usually do...
I usually do Meg's
the strength. So a full strength class. So I think that, and then Thursday, do you do Nicole's strength class?
No, Thursdays I do Amy's 4:30. I like
which is more of a circuit. So that's
cardio. That's just mostly cardio, but
yeah, which is great. And also you like cardio.
I like cardio.
You've always liked cardio.
And after the combination of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, those 3 classes, my muscles are pretty fatigued by that time.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I love, and Sue is a very regular Saturday boot camper. I will say that too. And although we don't have heavy weights out in the parking lot, we often, I always have in my mind, I always have an agenda to do something that's going to make one area of their body really tired. So, because hard to program when you don't really know what they're going to do on Sunday. But I like to just make sure that we have like some kind of strength focus with the equipment that we have, whether it be the bands or body weight or whatever it would be. Okay, that's great. That's really, really, really good advice, Sue. What would you say to somebody that's feeling mentally stuck?
Oh, that's a tough one. I think you need to reach out, like I said before, reach out to, even if it's not a professional, reach out to a friend and have someone as your accountability partner. Just reach out to someone. You connection is.
And I'm going to add to that. I think that everybody likes helping people, right? So when Sue's coworker commented on her looking great and what are you doing? When Sue shared that earlier, she kind of lit up a little bit like, hey, I can help you. I love it. The worst feeling in the world as a friend or even as a person is someone comes to you with a problem or something that they're struggling with and you're like, I have absolutely nothing to suggest to you. I don't know what to say. That feels awful. But when you can be like, hey, there's a doctor or there's a nutrition coach or somebody that you know for sure, don't recommend people that you don't know, but somebody that you've experienced with or you know someone firsthand that's had experience with that has had success with this person, that just feels great. Like, hey, I have a resource for you. And the more people you tell that you have a resource, I'm constantly like asking my students, like, hey, what do you use for this? Because I know my students and they have the same guiding principles as that I want. And if they're suggesting it and they know me and they know our Amy and Gretchen and our nutrition coaches and they know like kind of what our standards are. So if they're saying it, then I think it's great. And it's worth it. It's worth it, especially when it comes to your health, to keep trying. If you just listen to Sue's story and you're like, hey, I actually have gone to a gynecologist. Well, let's try another one. Or someone told me I can't do HRT because of this. Well, maybe there's a cream, there's so many, you just can't, you can't stop. You can't stop. You need to be relentless in your own health. You really do. And maybe there wasn't an answer when you tried 5 years ago, right? Like I remember when I tried to get the eye surgery, they told me, no, your stigmatisms are too bad. And then I kept hearing these advertisements of, if you have really bad, I'm like, well, maybe I can do it now. I couldn't. They said your corneas are too thin. You waited too long. But anyway, that's a terrible example. But in general, just keep trying. If it's something that means something to you, keep trying. And then the other thing is, I just want to share about what Sue mentioned about her friend is I don't think I'd love to be wrong, but I don't think she's going to reach out to Gretchen. I don't think she is, because I don't think she's ready. She's still in the I need a quick fix phase. She's not looking, she's got 13 pounds on her mind. She wants to lose this 13 pounds. She's not saying things like, I want to feel better. I want more energy. Those are the cues that I know that someone's going to listen to me more versus like, I just need to lose my belly. If I could tell you how many people walked into that studio and said, I just want to lose my belly. And I'm always like, okay, we can help you with that. But in the meantime, I'm like, unless they change what they really want, they're not going to be consistent. And it's true. It's true. There's one more thing I want to talk about with you, Sue. And that is, well, maybe both of your kids, but, so Sue has 2 children, Andrew and Nicole, kind of a little bit older than my kids. But what I remember most about Andrew is at any champ sporting event, if he wasn't playing, he was the best fan in the entire world. I fell in love with Champ High School because of your son, because he would get everybody going. It didn't matter. It was so old. It was like a feeling that I never saw before. Where do you think he got that from, Sue?
I honestly don't know. He did not get that from me in terms of the outgoingness that he has, because I'm an introvert and he's an extrovert, but yeah, they called it Champ Chaos, I think, was the student section. And he apparently got that whole thing started and he would lead the student body and all the chants and the cheers. they made him, Mr. Gabriel at his graduation made him get up and Andrew had no idea that this was going to happen. He made him get up and do one last, champ chaos, like lead the student body. And Andrew was so embarrassed, but he did it. But yeah, we were just having this conversation the other day because his girlfriend was saying, I don't think we would have been friends in high school because like I never could have talked to that guy that did what you did in high school. Like I wouldn't have been that person. And he's just like he just has that personality. Like he's in sales and we're just like, yeah, you can sell the phone book. I mean,
yep. Yes. That's amazing. Yeah. Okay. Very good. And then I also want to refer to her daughter, Nicole, who was actually one of my very first podcast guests. And I was nervous about it because I was like, she just finished college, really. And she was like, yeah, Kelly, I'll do it. I mean, all right, let's go, Nicole. And she was incredible. If you have not yet listened to that episode, I got so much great feedback from that episode from parents and even some students listened to it, I think, because it was somebody younger. I got so much great feedback. She shared her journey as a college athlete and just the environment that she was in, that she was, she got herself out of, and she kind of created a new path for herself. And she's doing quite well right now. And she is one of our instructors at KBC. She coaches several classes on our schedule. So I was asking Sue, do you go to Nicole's class? Because that's her daughter, but it's probably a little too late for Sue. But she coaches strength. And I honestly am blown away by this girl. She came in and we threw her to the wolves. We're like, oh, Nicole, we need a sub. She had her certification. We need a sub for this class. She's like, okay. And she did it. And everyone loved her. And she sent me a picture and she's just incredible. She's just a really special girl. I have a very soft spot for her daughter, Nicole. And I'm very grateful for Sue for bringing her to us. Nicole was actually, she was part of the Winter Challenge back when she was in high school, and she did events, and she would be a part of things here and there, and to have her kind of come full circle as a coach is really amazing. What do you want to say about our little Nicole?
We're
sharing her.
Obviously super proud of her and this journey that she's taken with KBC, because she is kind of like me. She's not like a outgoing, I'm going to go talk to everybody kind of person. So while I feel very comfortable standing up in front of a group of 9 and 10-year-olds and teaching them and telling them what to do, I don't know if I could stand up in front of adults, and not just adults, but adults that you grew up with. Like, she knows a lot of the people from when she was a kid. And that was one of the things that she talked about, was she's like, I just can't call people by their first names. Like, I just can't call Barton. He has to be Mr. Phillips, So just seeing her grow the way she has. I wasn't allowed to go to her first few classes. Like, she was like, Mom, I don't want you there. I just need to be able to do this. I don't want. And I was like, that's fine. I didn't know if I wanted to see it either. It's sink or swim, right? It's like, you're either going to be all in and figure this out, or you're just going to tank. So I was like, but yeah. So and then from then on, like, I couldn't step foot into the studio without somebody coming up to me and saying, oh my God, I love Nicole's classes. Oh, I took Nicole's class last night. It was so great. She's so good. She explains everything so great, and she demonstrates. And it's like, I've heard nothing. Not that anybody's going to say anything negative.
No, but they're not going to come up to you. They're just going to say, hi, Sue.
They don't have to.
They're not going to go out of their way to trust me. They do it to me too. I mean, month after month, I go through all their comments and I'm like, Cole, when are they going to stop? Like, pages of like, just why? And it's not just, I love Nicole. It's things very specific, like you're saying, like she does such a good job of demonstrating, and she's encouraging, and she's positive. And I think, always, whatever hard thing you've been through in life, kind of becomes part of you and it helps fuel your passion. And I think that, her having experiences in college athletics that weren't positive, she wants to be the change. And you can see it. You could see when she actually coaches youth girls. She's actually going to be coaching a summer program this summer. She's done it. She did it last summer as well. And you can see what she's very smart for a young person. She has an agenda of not just working these girls out, but empowering them and making it fun. I just love the idea that we can instill in some of these younger people, when we started exercise, it might have been more of a chore, but that's not what we're trying to bring to the future. We're trying to bring this is your happy place. This is a place where you can laugh and have fun and you look forward to it. And she just does a really good job of combining. It's a great workout, but it's also a fun place. And she makes fun videos and I personally adore her. I'm in the head of the fan club. I don't know if you want to be assistant, Sue, but I'm definitely the head.
No, it's really good to see because even as a youth, when she was involved in sports, she always looked up to her coaches, but she looked strongly towards those female coaches. And so whether it was high school teachers or coaches, but so it's good to see. I like that she's involved with the youth now and she's giving back and, she wants them to have that positive outlook that she had and she wants to be that role model for these younger athletes. Yeah.
Yeah. It's such a beautiful thing. In addition to working with KBC, she's working with Morgan's Message. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, Sue?
Yeah. She, had a hard time out of college finding a job, just like a lot of people do. And she worked a little bit, I think, with Morgan's Message when she was at Virginia Tech. And I'm not sure if she knew Morgan's sister prior to working at Morgan's Message, but anyway, Morgan's sister started this Morgan's Message. And so I don't know I think she made Morgan's sister, and I can't think of her name. Sorry. I may have reached out to Nicole, but either way. So she does a lot of their merchandise. I think she's in charge of merchandise and gets merchandise.
Yeah. Yeah. And marketing. And she's also a soccer coach. She won a state championship her first year coaching, which is put that on your resume. She's a pretty special girl. So thank you. She's got a very special mom. So you are just a bright light in our community. I am so grateful for you. If I ever need anything, whether it be stickers for the breast cancer workout or someone to read something for me or whatever it is, Sue is the person that I go to because she really has, she has benefited from this community and she wants to give back. She's just another person that I would say, if she can help somebody else, I've connected her to other people where I'm like, you need to talk to Sue Foley. And I'm really, really grateful for you. I'm really, really proud of you. I love success stories and I love success stories that people just, they do the work and they put in the effort. And you're just a great example of that. My sister is absolutely right. You are a teacher's pet, and I mean that in the best way. And that you're just a hard worker and you're not afraid to do the things that are going to make a difference. And you're not only concerned about yourself, but you're concerned about your community and students and everybody. So thank you so much, Sue. Thank you for being on. And I am so excited to share this podcast with our community.
Well, thank you so much, Kelly. I, as you know, look up to you so much, and I appreciate all the things you've done for me over the years as well. So I'm just so thankful to be a part of KBC and the community that you've built here. So thank you.
So the sign behind her says, easy doesn't make you better. And I think that's the perfect way to end this podcast.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
all right,
Sue.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Start Before You're Ready. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share with a friend who might need a little motivation. Ready to start your own journey? Check out our workouts and nutrition coaching programs at kellysbootcamp.net. You can choose from in-person sessions or virtual programs. set up a complimentary coaching session to get started. Follow along with me and the show on social media at Kelly's_bootcamp. Until next time, this is Kelly Young reminding you that the best time to start is always now.